What's good, guys? It's your boy Rob. We're back with another very special, powerful video. And in today's video, we are going to be discussing 4 up-and-coming IPOs, initial public offerings, 4 up-and-coming IPOs that I think that we should at least be aware of. And to be honest with you, these companies are extremely interesting. They have extremely interesting business models, and they could pose an opportunity to get in early on some investments, right? On some stocks that are IPOing into the market. So that's what we're gonna be discussing today. But before we get into this video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you are an elite millennial seeking to be and will be the first multi-millionaire in your family. This is a channel you wanna subscribe to because I post all things business, all things finance, all things entrepreneurship, and all things just self-development. So like, comment, subscribe, and let's get right into it. All right, guys, so let's get right into it. Like I said, 4 up-and-coming IPOs. And to be honest with you, I thought about explaining what an IPO is, but I think it's pretty straightforward. It's a term that gets thrown around a lot. I think a lot of people at this point understand what it is, but basically it's when a company registers with the Security and Exchange Commission to sell shares of the company publicly on some major stock exchange. So it gives retail investors like you and I an opportunity to buy in some of our favorite companies. All right, so the very first company, and I got some notes here on this iPad here. The very first company is a company by the name of Saks PARENTE Golf Incorporated. That's Saks PARENTE Golf Incorporated. Now, this company is a Camarillo, California-based company that was founded in 2018 by Steve Saks, okay? And this guy, Steve Saks, very impressive resume. He was actually the co-founder of Goldwyn Golf, okay? So Goldwyn Golf, I think, is a big golf company within that space. He was a co-founder of that company. And also the second co-founder of Saks PARENTE Golf is a guy by the name of Rich PARENTE, Saks PARENTE, right? Steve Saks, Rich PARENTE. Rich PARENTE, who has an amazing resume and amazing background. He was the original co-founder and first president of Callaway Golf. Now, I'm not that big of a golfer. In fact, I've recently been getting into it. But for those of you who are big golfers, even I know that Callaway Golf is a major company. So Rich PARENTE was the original co-founder and first president of Callaway Golf. Okay, so what does Saks PARENTE Golf Incorporated actually do? Well, in 2011, okay, Steve Saks and co-founder Rich PARENTE conceptualized the specific redistribution of weight throughout the putter, okay? This began a journey of development, perfecting technologies, material selection, relentless testing and evaluation, searching for the perfect elements to make their concept a reality. Their mission, okay, Saks PARENTE's mission is to help golfers make more putts by making the best putting instruments ever. Simple, right? So their promise is to create putting instruments to help every golfer. Now, this is interesting. Between the two of them, between Steve and Rich, they have 50 plus patents, okay? 50 plus patents. That's pretty impressive. Okay, now Saks PARENTE announced their IPO terms on December 9th of this year, and they plan to raise $20 million by offering 4.4 million shares at a price range of $4 to $5, and this could command a market value of $88 million. Now, the company plans to list on the NASDAQ exchange under the ticker symbol SPGC. Now, according to an article written on Seeking Alpha, I don't know the exact author of this article, but he states that SPGC is still at a very early stage of development, and management has yet to show its ability to grow revenue in any appreciable sense. So there appears to be some concerns about the company's ability to continue to grow and scale. Now, like I said, I don't know a lot about golfing. In fact, I've just recently gotten into golfing and my swing's getting pretty good, by the way. But I know that there are definitely some major players already in the golf equipment space Callaway Golf being one of them. Now here's the thing that I did learn about Sacks Parente and their founders. So they were actually motivated to make new putting equipment because apparently most of the golf equipment was the designs were established and created around the 1960s. So a lot of the golfing clubs that we see being used today are actually based off of old designs, right? So it does seem like they could be on the cutting edge of innovation within the golf club space. So that could definitely help and give them a competitive advantage. But as from what I know, and we would obviously have to do more market research on this company, but there are already a lot of players in this space. And if they're having issues scaling currently, I don't know if going public is going to help them. But there you guys have it. The first company on our list of upcoming IPOs is Sacks Parente. And the IPO date is still to be determined. All right, guys, the second company on our list of the up and coming IPOs. This company is honestly pretty impressive. It was one of my favorites on the list. So, definitely look into this one. Very, very, very interesting. So the name of the company is called LAMINERA Flow Optimization, okay? I'll spell it out somewhere on the screen here. LAMINERA Flow Optimization. Okay, so LAMINERA Flow Optimization was founded in 2017, and they're actually based in Israel, which is crazy, right? Israel and they're, registering shares here in the United States. It's very, very interesting. Management of this company is headed by CEO Yair Volovitz, probably butchered that name. Yair Volovitz, who has been with the firm since January of 2022, was previously a business development manager at a biotech firm, Kayama Bio-Agritech. Sorry, guys, these foreign names are very interesting. Okay, so what does LAMINERA do? Once again, I told you this company is very interesting. So LAMINERA Flow Optimization operates a deep tech development stage company that aims to disrupt fluid transportation, specifically water, oil, and gas transportation. The company focuses on improving and optimizing the global infrastructure of water, oil, and gas pipeline transportation by reducing energy costs, maintenance costs, and enhancing capacity without having to replace infrastructure. They're the developer of a pipeline transportation technology intended to solve the fluid dynamics challenge. The company's technology suppresses, and it's going to get super jargony here, so very warning here. The company's technology suppresses turbulence in the pipeline using pressure wave generators. This generates low frequency pressure waves in the flow, leading to the reduction of friction losses and energy consumption in the pipeline transportation process, thereby saving energy consumption in the global water, oil, and gas market. LAMINERA announced on Friday, December 9th of this year that they plan to offer 1.6 million units in its IPO. And expects the unit price per share to be between $4.25 to $6.25. And the expectation is they're going to list on the NASDAQ, and the underwriter of this IPO is Aegis Capital Corp. Aegis Capital Corp. They're the sole book runner for this IPO. All that means is they're basically the company in charge of soliciting the shares of the company and helping the company sell these shares when they list on the public markets. Okay, now according to an article on Seeking Alpha, the firm currently, and this is a kicker here with this one, as cool as the product is, the firm currently does not have any paying customers. But upon completion of development of its latest prototype device, the company will seek customers across primary industries of water, transport, and oil and gas pipeline operators. LAMINERA is still a pre-revenue stage company. So this company has yet to generate any revenue at all. And in fact, what I've learned is that they've been operating at a loss since inception. Okay, so they're pre-revenue stage. They're still developing their technology. They've been operating at a loss since inception, which is 2017. So that is something that you want to be aware of. This poses very high IPO risk. Now, according to a 2022 market research report by iMark Group, the global market for pipeline monitoring was estimated at 13.7 billion, okay? 13.7 billion in 2021, and it's estimated to reach 20.6 billion in 2027. That's a compound annual growth rate of close to 7% from 2022 to 2027. So the industry itself is growing exponentially. Okay, management says that it will use the net proceeds of the IPO as follows. Number one, for product development. Number two, for product testing in beta sites for the purpose of examining our product performance and its compliance with certain predefined specifications. And number three, for research and development. So my personal thoughts on this company, like I said, I think the business model itself, the product itself, the technology itself is extremely useful. In fact, it's perfect for where we're headed in regards to infrastructure, you know, in the next few years, right? Especially with the Biden administration and the whole Build Back Better program, which is essentially trying to build a clean energy infrastructure here within the States, seeing this clean energy become more and more of a trend, zero carbon emissions becoming more and more of a trend, energy efficiency becoming more and more of a trend. Our infrastructure is headed in a more energy efficient direction. So I think it's a great time for companies like this, especially in such a niche area of the market, oil and gas transportation, fluid transportation, midstream transportation. I think, you know, I don't know any other companies in this space doing that. So this could pose an opportunity for them to be, number one, first to market for this type of technology. And then number two, really just hone out a competitive advantage, being that they are first to market. So I think this is definitely a company that we should keep an eye on. There is no expectation date for when the IPO will take place. However, it is expected to be in the year of 2023. All right, guys, number three on our list of up and coming IPOs. This one is also super cool and super exciting. The company's name is VinFast Auto. VinFast Auto. Now, VinFast LLC is a Vietnamese private automotive company headquartered in Vietnam. Now, the company was established in 2017, and it is a member of a conglomerate organization already in Vietnam by the name of Vin Group. And it was founded by, I'm probably gonna butcher this, Pham Nhat Vuong. Probably butchered that. All right, now what does the company do? Well, the company is actually an electric vehicle manufacturer, very similar to Tesla, okay? They believe that a sustainable future is only possible when everyone can enjoy access to smart, safe, and environmentally friendly electric vehicles. The company is gearing up to expand in the US market, where it hopes to compete with legacy automakers and startups with its all-electric SUVs, the VF8 and the VF9. And they also have a battery leasing program to reduce purchase price as well. On Tuesday, December 6th, the company had filed for its IPO in the United States. It's expected to list on the NASDAQ. All these companies somehow, for some reason, are listing on the NASDAQ. It's expected to list under the NASDAQ ticker symbol VFS to fund its expansion with a planned plant in North Carolina. So it looks like they're building a plant in North Carolina, and going public is going to help them raise the capital to finance and build that plant. The number of shares to be offered and the price range for the proposed offering have yet to be determined. Very interesting about this IPO is that there are a lot of underwriters for this IPO. In fact, there is a 9-bank syndicate behind the deal. Citigroup being one of those underwriters, Morgan Stanley being one of those underwriters, Credit Suisse, and also JP Morgan Chase are leading a 9-bank syndicate. So there's 9 banks looking to bring this company public. The company first mentioned of an IPO in April of last year, 2021, aiming to raise $2 billion with a valuation of $60 billion, okay? $60 billion. Now, just to put that in perspective, Rivian, another electric vehicle manufacturer who's been having a lot of problems lately, Rivian also IPO'd, I think it was last year, no, it may have been earlier this year. Yeah, it may have been earlier this year. Rivian IPO this year. They had a $70 billion valuation. And that was a company that had yet to generate any revenues at all. So, I mean, these valuations are absolutely ridiculous. Just to put it in perspective, I think Ford Motor Company has a valuation of about that amount as well, like 70 to 80 billion. I think, I could be wrong, but just thinking about this is a company with a $60 billion valuation. Absolutely crazy. Now, one of the cooler things about VinFast, okay, is that if they are successful with this IPO, VinFast will be Vietnam's first company, to list in the United States. The electric vehicle maker in late November shipped its first batch of 999 vehicles to the United States, capping a 5-year bid to develop an auto production hub in Vietnam for markets in North America and Europe. VinFast has said that it is almost 65,000 orders globally, okay, and expects to sell 750,000 electric vehicles annually by 2026. That's a lot of vehicles. Also, last but not least, they are Vietnam's first global automotive manufacturer. So this is super cool, right? They're gonna be the first Vietnam-based company to list on a US stock exchange. They're Vietnam's first US global vehicle manufacturer. That's cool. That's a huge milestone in itself. Now, my personal thoughts on this company, just based off what the small research that I've done, is that if they do come to the United States, the electric vehicle market here is extremely competitive. I think Tesla probably captures the majority of market share when it comes to electric vehicles here in the US. So they're gonna have to come in and compete with some fucking dogs. And on top of that, we have our major auto manufacturers, your Fords, your GMs. These companies are also moving into the electric vehicle space as well. So, I mean, are people more than likely going to be purchasing electric vehicles from Tesla, who is a well-established brand, or Ford and GM, who are already well-established brands, or are they going to be buying this Vietnam-based electric vehicle car, right? So I just don't know, but I think, you know, it's exciting the fact that they are going to be the first Vietnam-based vehicle manufacturer listed on the US exchange. That alone is compelling enough. And last but not least, the fourth and last up and coming IPO of this year. And this one, you gotta save the best for last. This one is super, super cool. So this company is called Stripe, okay, Stripe. And I'm sure a lot of you have already heard of them because especially if you're into the online retail space, Stripe is very popular. But let me tell you a little bit about Stripe. Huge and super cool company. Stripe is an Irish-American company that is dual headquartered in South San Francisco, California in the United States and Dublin, Ireland, okay? The company was founded by Irish entrepreneur brothers, John and Patrick Collison, who founded Stripe in Palo Alto, California in 2009. So what does the company do? Well, Stripe is a financial services company that provides online payment processing for businesses. They say that they bring together everything that is required to build websites and apps that accept payments and send outs. Stripe's products power payments for online and in-person retailers, subscription businesses, software platforms and marketplaces, and everything in between. They also have business units that help companies beat fraud, send invoices, issue virtual and physical cards. Now, the coolest thing about Stripe, okay, is that if Stripe were to IPO next year, which that's the expectation, it's probably the biggest and most anticipated IPO for next year. Going public in 2023 will entail a valuation of about $74 billion, which is actually down. We're talking about $74 billion valuation, okay? We were just talking about VinFast with a $60 billion valuation. They're an electric vehicle manufacturer. This company is gonna have a $74 billion valuation, which is actually down. The original estimation was $95 billion. But the company recently slashed its internal valuation by 28%. So once again, we're talking about huge companies, right? When you compare these to your traditional blue chip companies like a Ford, I mean, they entertain valuations of roughly 70 to 80 billion, probably a little bit more or less. These companies they've only been around for, you know, a couple of decades, if even a decade. This company was founded in 2009 and it has such a huge valuation already, bigger than companies that have been around for close to centuries. So basically, Stripe is on track to to debut among the biggest IPOs in history, okay? Fucking crazy, the biggest IPO in history. Stripe registered its plans to go public with the SEC, but an exact IPO date has yet to be established. Some say that due to the massive valuation, Stripe actually doesn't need any capital and could pursue a direct listing instead of a traditional IPO. Now, for those who don't know, a direct listing is essentially when the private shareholders essentially are allowed to sell their shares without being bound by some type of lockup period. So they can raise capital like that through the private investors just selling the shares they currently already have. It could, rather than IPO, just go through a direct listing. Now, more about the company, okay? In 2011, the company received an investment of $2 million, including from PayPal co-founders Elon Musk and Peter Thiel. Also, Irish entrepreneur Liam Casey invested, as well as some of the more well-known venture capital firms, Sequoia Capital and Andreessen Horowitz. Also, in January of this year, Stripe entered a 5-year partnership with Ford Motor Company. Through this deal, Stripe will handle transactions for consumer vehicle orders and reservations. That same month, January of this year, Stripe partnered with Spotify to help creators monetize subscriptions, accept payments, and launch recurring revenue stream. In April of 2022, Twitter announced that they will partner with Stripe for piloting cryptocurrency payouts for limited users in the platform. Some of Stripe's other customers include Zapier, Slack, Google, Instacart, Amazon, and Shopify. Businesses in over 120 countries use Stripe to help facilitate commerce and growth. Stripe is one of the most valued startups in the United States. About 964,894 websites currently use Stripe. Also, the market remains largely untapped, okay, with room for plenty of growth. The online payment industry is still booming, with many transactions switching to digital instead of paper, even as life gets back to normal. There are some weaknesses and risk of the Stripe IPO as well. Stripe generates a large amount of its business through Shopify, okay? So they generate a large amount of their business with Shopify, which can obviously pose some concentration risk. The company's dependence on it could be a problem. Also, Stripe's enormous valuation means that the company would need to prove to continue to grow post IPO, as we've seen with other public companies. Its large valuation could also deter some investors away, as it could fall when it debuts on the stock market. It was also recently devalued from 95 billion to 74 billion, which could give some investors some pause. Now, what are my personal thoughts? I'm actually familiar with Stripe. You know, being someone who has ran an online business before and still currently do have an online business, I know that Shopify gives their contractors an option to process payments through Stripe. Me, I haven't used them, so I can't speak to the quality of them, but I am aware of them. This company is absolutely fucking huge. I mean, we're talking about a $90 billion valuation. That would be crazy. This would be one of the largest IPO debuts in history. That alone is extremely compelling. You know, I don't know, man. That's exciting, okay? It's pretty cool, right? That the fact that this company is so big and it's only been around since 2009, right? It's literally only been around for a little bit over a decade, and they've grew to such a massive scale, and they're considering IPOing, and that's just exciting. Now, I don't know if, you know, we would have to obviously look at the company's financials to determine how profitable they are. I don't even have any information on that. That's something we have to look into, but I think it's something to keep an eye on with the valuation. The valuation alone says a lot about the company, right? It says a lot about the company. So Stripe is definitely one to keep an eye on. All right, so there you guys have it. 4 up and coming IPOs for you guys to, you know, just kind of keep an eye on, you know, kind of keep your ear to the Wall Street streets to see, you know, what's going on with these. I think obviously there's 15 days left in a year, so we're probably not going to get any of these IPOs in 2022. They're more than likely all going to be in 2023, which I think is good. I know the IPO market was pretty slow this year, largely driven by all the volatility, obviously Russia, Ukraine, COVID-19, record levels of inflation, all of these things that made just stock market volatility higher than it's ever been. Not higher than it's ever been, but on average, volatility only exceeds 1%, maybe 50 times a year. This year alone, we've already exceeded 1% volatility over 100, I think it's like 155 times. So, right, so the stock market this year has just been extremely, extremely volatile. That's why a lot of companies have chosen not to IPO. So hopefully once things start to improve next year, we start to see more IPOs. Those IPOs tend to, actually have a chance of performing, right? But there you guys have it. I think those 4 companies are super interesting. Definitely look into them. I'll include the research articles that I read below that provides the information that I provided in this video. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you're considering buying it. Let me know your perspective on the company. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel. More content coming soon. Your boy Ray. Peace.